I walked around and I went into every single hotel, every single bar, every single cafe, and just said, I just need a room. I want a room that I can just kit out. It can be mine. But being a 19-year-old kid, not many people took me up on it. They all said no. So me and my mum, we pretty much gave up. But we were just walking down the street. We walked down the street that we don't usually walk down in Durham. And we walked past this gate that has an address of 19 and a half on it, which is a very cool address. And there was a little to let sign, like a rent sign up next to it. Oh, that's really cool. There was a guy painting some stairs, and we asked him, like, oh, is this place up for rent? And he said, yeah. Do you want to have a look inside? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. So we go in, and it is very small. And the guy said, oh, the landlord's just around the corner. Do you want me to get him over and he can maybe talk to you about it? And we're like, oh yeah, for sure. So the landlord comes over, he gives us his price, and he's like, and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll think about it. And then I basically told him the ideas in my head of what I wanted to do with this space. And there and then he plummeted the price and he was like, I want you to do this. So we were like, oh my God. So the next day we had it, and it was basically go from there.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Desert Island Tricks. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about another podcast that we now have. Now, this is aside from the Desert Island platform because obviously we have three versions of the Desert Island podcast now. We have Desert Island Tricks, Desert Island SOS, and Stranded with a Stranger. So aside from that, we have a brand new podcast, and that is the Alakazam live podcast. This goes out every Tuesday. It's another free podcast, so you can download it and listen to it free. It's on every major streaming platform, exactly like this one. And on the live Alakazam live podcast, you're going to get Peter Nardi every Tuesday talking about a subject, maybe behind the scenes of magic. He'll be joined with different guests. A lot of the time, it will be with Wayne Goodman. But you can listen to that. Now, if you want to see that live, it's actually every Tuesday live on Alakazam. But in order to reach the biggest audience we can, we've decided to then take that and pop that on podcast platforms. So if you're driving, going for a walk or for a run, or whatever you're doing, then you can listen to that as well. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, search for the Alakazam live podcast, and you'll be able to listen to that too. So let's stop babbling on about that because I'm very excited about today's guest. I've known about today's guest for a long time. He actually came down several years ago now when he was building a Halloween show, and we sat down and we spoke all things magic. And since seeing him then, watching his career grow and learning about his magic venue, he has his own magic venue, considering he is so young, it's absolutely unreal. I think that the things that he has achieved in his short time on this earth is probably as substantial as someone who's been in this career 3 times him. He's absolutely done some incredible things. He continues to make that a larger thing. He just told me that he's developing other ideas with it. I've not had the chance to go down there either, which I'm gutted about. He does lots of different fringe shows, so he works with Luke Osland, who we've had on this podcast, and a couple of other guys with insane magic, which he sometimes stands in at Edinburgh, and he does it at the Adelaide Fringe as well. I think they're heading out there soon at the time of recording. But his own show, which I've seen clips of, which is called Grow Up Magic Man, which looks absolutely brilliant. It looks whimsical, it looks fun, it looks completely different to anything that I've seen. And, of course, I mentioned he had his own venue. That is the Magic Corner. This is such a cool little venue that Tom puts on shows himself, and it's packed week after week, year after year. It's so difficult to actually get a ticket. Of course, today's guest is the wonderful Tom Bolton. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Jamie. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, excited to have you on. Now, before we get into everything and finding out about your list, we have to find out about the Magic Corner because I think it's such
Yes.
a great venue. So tell us about the Magic Corner, what it is, what you do there.
Yeah, so the Magic Corner, it's sort of been my dream since I was a child, really. I started in 2019, about 4 months before COVID, which was terrible timing. But since COVID, people were desperate for things to do, so it definitely sort of shot off from the end of COVID, which was good. But yeah, it's essentially a very, very small, intimate magic show that is only 10 to 12 people at a time. So it's a very small room. Essentially, the idea of it initially was I wanted the back room of a bar. I wanted the spare room in a hotel. Definitely the Chamber of Magic. Steve Cohen, I think, does. That definitely was something that I saw and I was like, yes, that's sort of what I have in my mind. And then obviously Joshua J brought out Six Impossible Things, which again is a similar idea. And I was like, yes, okay, cool. This is doable. This is workable. People have shown that it works, so I'm going to try and push this. So yeah, so I live in Durham. For those of you that haven't been to Durham, it's a very magical city. Harry Potter was filmed here. If you walk down the streets, it's very, very sort of old and whimsical. It's a lovely, lovely little city in the northeast of England, and it's somewhere that a little magic show would work. I walked around and I went into every single hotel, every single bar, every single cafe, and just said, I just need a room. I want a room that I can just kit out. It can be mine. And the reason for that is because I wanted people to have a drink during the show. So I thought, like, if it was in a hotel, they can get a drink at the bar and bring it up to this magic room. But being a 19-year-old kid, not many people sort of took me up on it. They all said no. So me and my mum, we pretty much gave up. But we were just walking down the street. We walked down the street that we don't usually walk down in Durham for no reason at all, other than we're here to find something unique. So let's just have a look. And we walked past this gate that has an address of 19 and a half on it, which is a very cool address. And there was a little to let sign, like a rent sign, up next to it. Oh, that's really cool. So there was a guy painting some stairs on the outside, just inside of the gate. And we asked him, like, oh, is this place up for rent? And he said, yeah. Do you want to have a look inside? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. So we go in and it is very small. It's like an office building. There's a couple of rooms and it's just an office really, but it's empty. It is up for rent. And the guy said, oh, the landlord's just around the corner. Do you want me to get him over and he can maybe talk to you about it? And we're like, oh yeah, for sure. So the landlord comes over, he gives us his price and he's like, and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll think about it. And then I basically told him the ideas in my head of what I wanted to do with this space. And there and then he just plummeted the price and he was like, I want you to do this. So we were like, oh my God. So the next day we had it and it was basically go from there. We very much rushed into it. So we took this office space and with a lot of help from my parents, we just kitted it out. We got some chairs, we painted the walls. There is two rooms separated by a little staircase that goes down. We've separated that now, so it is two individual rooms rather than sort of one big room that stretches around. And we have a bookshelf door in between them. So that sort of the first half of the show is in this bar area where they serve drinks, and the second half of the show is down the stairs and through the bookshelf. It's nice because it kind of creates very two different halves of the show. So the first half is the bar. There is a little hatch. It used to be a little window, but we turned it into a hatch that went into a little utility room. That utility room is now the bar where I serve drinks through the hatch. So that essentially how it works, a group of 10 people come in, they sit down, I serve them drinks through the bar, and the show basically starts in that room. And then the second half of the show, there's an interval for more drinks, and then second half of the show, they go through the bookshelf, they take a seat in sort of like a ring formation, and the second half's down there. But yeah, that's basically it. It's a very close-up show, with it being only 10 to 12 people at a time. It sells out quite nicely. So I do 3 shows a day, usually Thursday to Sunday, sometimes Wednesday to Sunday. Occasionally I'll do a Monday show. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't know if I've missed anything out. I'm not sure, but maybe.
Well, it sounds incredible, and I know that you theme your shows as well. So this isn't just a show that you do year round? I mean, you have your staple show, of course, but then you do things around Halloween and Christmas as well.
For sure. Yeah. So the show changes purely because a lot of people come back. It's one of those things that I think the reason it's become quite successful is because people go to the show and as soon as it finishes, sometimes even at the interval, they're already thinking who they're going to bring because all they want to do is bring other people to their show. So you get people coming with their work, and that's 10 individual people with their work. Those 10 individual people all want to then bring their family and friends as well. So it sort of takes off from there, which is really, really good. And word of mouth is so strong for it as well. But yeah, throughout the year, so from January to I would say August, it's just the normal show, the normal Magic Corner show. And then in August, I'm in Edinburgh Fringe. And then sort of like mid-September till early November, it's the Halloween show. And again, mid-November till sort of like end of December is the Christmas show. The Halloween show is the biggest difference. It's the first half is very much magic, but sort of with a spooky theme. The second half is a seance that I remember we talked about years ago. So the second half of the show, with it being the seance, everyone's already sat in a big ring. So you just put a big table in the middle and you do that sort of theatrical seance. So it's not like a real seance. It's more of a theatrical one where lots happens towards the end. It sort of builds up. And then the Christmas show, it's just different. It's just Christmas themed. Put decorations up, change the color of the lights and stuff. And the show, it has, I'm always tweaking it, but not just the magic sides. I am changing the tricks, but I'm a big believer in making magic theatrical or as theatrical as possible. I think doing the Magic Corner, I've realized how important lighting and sound is in a show. So now in the Magic Corner, everything is programmed from every single bulb in the room is programmed through DMX. Every single, I've got little spotlights. I've got little battery powered lights that they're all controlled by QLab. Everything is controlled, and it's in my opinion, what's made the biggest difference to the show is the lighting. I can't even stress how important lighting is in shows. So like, for example, with Halloween, just having that like sudden blackout moment is vital. And you can have a remote, but they're not always reliable. Whereas if you just have everything programmed, one click of your little audio ape and just everything blackout, and you can get the spotlights coming. So the show changes throughout the year, and always tweaking the lights, always trying to improve it as we go.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is done really well in terms of local TripAdvisor and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you've done really, really well with like tourism and just getting people from outside who don't necessarily know what the Magic Corner is in.
Yes, for sure. It's I think the furthest someone's ever traveled for the Magic Corner was from, I think, Germany. And the reason for that is ages ago, before I started when I was just starting out the Magic Corner, it was like this little pocket guide got in touch with me from Germany, and they said, "Oh, we're basically writing a little pocket guide of Harry Potter locations." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And they were like, "I know your show isn't like a Harry Potter location, but obviously Durham is, and you're like a magic show in Durham. Would you mind if we put you in?" I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely fine." And it must have been 3 years later, a couple from Germany came to the show, and I was like, "Oh, so how did you guys hear about the show?" And they were like, "Oh, we read it in this little pocket guide of Harry Potter locations." I was like, "Okay, you're the first people to ever come from that, but it's good to know it worked. It was free at the end of the day, so I can't complain." So I think that's the furthest anyone's ever come for it. But yeah, people do travel for it, which is really nice. The reviews are great. I always I don't push reviews on people at the end. I have a little line that I say at the end: "If you wouldn't mind leaving a review, it'd be very kind of you," sort of thing. And I think the good thing about it is people don't just leave a review; they leave like a good solid review. Like they actually write a paragraph rather than just saying, "Oh, it was great." They do really go into detail, and it's really helpful. And I think, over the past 6 years, I think across all platforms, we're nearly 1,000 reviews, which is really 5-star reviews, which is really great. And the TripAdvisor thing, I got in touch with TripAdvisor when I first started, and they just denied my application so many times. I think something to do with being just a sole business. I'm not sure, but somehow I'm on TripAdvisor now. So it wasn't me. Someone else must have put me on, which is absolutely fine with me. And yeah, it's gathered some reviews on TripAdvisor, and I got an award not that long ago. It's something to do with the top 10% of worldwide attractions. And I'm not sure what that means exactly. I know it's something to do with the reviews, and because obviously, I in my head, I'm like, there's no way I'm in the top 10% of attractions worldwide when you're up against, the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. But I think it is based on the quality of the reviews. So there's not a huge amount of reviews, but every single review is really detailed with, they're long reviews. They're not just, it was fun, so I think that's why. But yeah, I was really happy to get that. It's probably the first award I've got for it, and hopefully there'll be more in the future.
Well, I want to put this out there now. So if you're listening, Tom just said that the furthest someone has travelled to the Magic Corner is Germany. I think we can beat that. If you're over in the UK, from abroad, from overseas, and you're here for maybe a convention or for a holiday, please book into the Magic Corner and tell Tom that you heard it on this podcast, and Tom will let me know that the furthest... how far can we... Australia? Should we, America, Australia, Canada?
That'll do.
Canada?
Yeah,
okay. Right, I believe in you. I believe in the Alakazam listeners.
And Durham's a lovely city. We're not too far from Newcastle. It's not many people visit the northeast of England, but honestly, it's some of the nicest people in the world. And Durham's a lovely city, and it's not expensive as well. It's very cheap. Hotels are cheap, so yeah, you'd be doing well. It's worth coming to Durham, even if you don't come to the show.
So you kind of alluded to this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing having this environment allows you to change up the material that you're performing quite regularly. So did that help inform your list, or was that worse because you had so much to choose from?
It did. So with the Magic Corner, there's most of the things on my list I do in the Magic Corner, if not, to be honest, all of them, mainly because that is pretty much my life at the moment, is doing that show. Yeah, with the show, I do tweak it. I throw in new stuff every so often. It's also great to practice stuff. So for example, if we are doing, for example, with Grow Up Magic Man, sometimes I would take the tricks from there and do them in the Magic Corner because it's only 10 people at a time, so that it's really good to practice these tricks. So if it goes wrong, at the end of the day, you're only letting down 10 people at a time, so it's not too bad. And it's great to practice. But yeah, I do throw stuff in, but there are a lot of staple pieces in the Magic Corner that have very much, I've almost been doing them from the start, and they've got to a place now that I just feel like I can't take them out the show. It's one of those that people bring their friends purely because they want to show them this trick. Because I was always a big believer of every year I need to change the show. And then I can't remember who it was. I think it was Graham Shaw who told me, but that people will come back purely to see that trick, and they might actually be disappointed if that trick isn't in the show. So there are a few staple pieces in the show that I will talk about that I do quite a lot. But generally, yeah, unless there's a theme like Halloween or Christmas, the show will stay the same. Or I'll tweak it, like throw in something new. Like, for example, at the moment, I've got a Traitors themed trick because Traitors is absolutely huge right now. So as soon as I say, I say sort of something along the lines of, mind reading, what is it? You're sort of looking at people, seeing how they react in certain situations, that sort of thing. And there's a whole TV show dedicated to this. Does anyone know the one I'm on about? It's on right now. And as soon as someone said the words Traitors, I press my button, the whole room goes red, and then this sort of like the music starts playing, and then we go into sort of like an oddballs routine to do with the Traitors. So I'll throw in stuff like that. If there's something that's worth throwing in, I will. But generally, it does stay the same. But yeah, my list is primarily stuff that I do in the show.
Okay, well, that can keep us guessing for now. If it's your first time listening, the idea is we're about to maroon Tom on his very own magical island. When he's there, he's allowed to take 8 tricks, banish 1 item, take 1 book and 1 non-magic item that he uses for magic. Particulars, who's there, what's there, all of that good stuff, we do not mind. It's in Tom's own imagination. So, let's go to your island now, Tom, and find out what you put in position number 1.
Yeah, so I've listened to the podcast quite a lot. Some of the stuff I'm about to say has been said before, but Obviously, I'm going to start with the obvious ones. Number one is, of course, a deck of cards. Just a normal deck of cards. A lot of people say like a memorized stack and stuff. Not for me. I've never learned a stack to this day. We'll get into that in the book section soon. But yeah, I've never learned a stack. So it is just a normal deck of cards. I assume you're about to ask me what I would do with that deck of cards. And
Oh,
that is
yes.
yes, and that is the first trick of the show. Basically, before the show starts, I have a big bucket of cards, so many cards and pens as well. And before the show starts, there is an announcement that says, before the show starts, you have to go grab a single card. I want you to sign it, make it unique, write your name, your signature, your bank details, anything you want on that card, and then the show will begin. So everyone, it's just something that rather than I've never liked starting a show by going, hello, everyone. My name's Tom. I hate it. I need them to be doing something first to just to get them warmed up, so I don't have to do the warm up essentially. So they all grab a card, and then I actually start the show in the hatch, so in the bar, and I do a few tricks there. But when I come into the room, I collect every single card from them, and I do a multiple card selection with those cards. So they all get lost into the middle, and the multiple card selection that I do is something that I do in the Magic Corner, but I've also done on stage as well. I did it in 1 Hour of Insanity, which is the Insane Productions sister show. It's the circus show that they did. So they have 1 Hour of Insane Magic and 1 Hour of Insanity, which they trialed last year. Was really fun, really a big success. There was a magician, there was a circus act, a comedian, and a juggler, and a circus act as in juggler, and a hula hooper as well. So in that show, I was the magician in the show, and I did the multiple card selection in that. Now, the multiple card selection that I do it's all to do with the principles of magic. I saw a video on TikTok a few years ago, and it was the 7 principles of magic, and it was a CGI video with this guy, and he does like appearance, disappearance, transposition, teleportation, all of those sort of things in this video with a balloon. And it's really good. You should definitely check it out. And I saw that. I was like, that would be really cool if you could find a card using each of the principles of magic. So, yeah. So in the Magic Corner, I do it. There's a few differences to the Magic Corner one that I do on stage. On stage, I have a big screen behind me that sort of brings up the principles. And so on stage, I just do 6 cards. In the Magic Corner, there could be 10 to 12 cards. So I do just find some non-principally, just, it appears in your back pocket or whatever. But yeah, the 6 or 7 principles that I do on stage are, so the first one's appearance. So you make a card appear. That's the first card. The next one is transposition, where their card changes into another card. The next one is misdirection, where I find a card with one hand behind my back, with the other hand up here, misdirecting. The next one is escape. So I just talk a little bit about Houdini. In the Magic Corner, I have a pair of handcuffs, the Moroccan wrist straps. I'm sure you're aware of them. I have those, and I hand them out, and I get them checked out. I lock them in, I lock myself in, and I find their card whilst locked in, and then escape from the handcuffs, true Houdini style. Then I lock them in the handcuffs and just leave them for the next 10 minutes in them, which is always fun. And then I think it's prediction. So, you have a card in view the whole time, and that is a signed card that someone's chose. And then I think it's teleportation. So on stage, I would do angle Z. So I rip off the corner of their card, and it appears in a randomly chosen pocket in the audience, with, as you can imagine, a lot of pre-show involved, which is always scary. I did that in Adelaide last year, and oh my God, every single time I was just backstage staring at that person, making sure they don't see that corner card in their pocket. I was like, oh no, if they find it, the game's up. And then at the moment in the Magic Corner, I end with a disappearance with an Omni deck, but I'm slowly trying to transition into using Leviosa, because that can use two principles of magic, telekinesis and also levitation. So I would like to end with that as well. So yeah, so I think in terms of the multiple selection, I haven't seen anyone. There might be people that do it like that. I haven't seen anyone doing it using the sort of principles of magic. But yeah, that's what I do with it's a normal deck of cards. That's my favorite routine.
Well, I think that sounds great. I love the idea of using the principles of deception just to, make it more interesting and a bit more engaging, because I guess it's quite a repetitive thing. So
That's
the
true.
real skill there is to make it engaging and entertaining.
Yeah. And in terms of that as well, I think one thing audiences love, and I don't know why, because I'm actually not the biggest fan of card magic. I've always liked doing magic with like other objects, but audiences love card magic. They really do. I think they love one to see skill. Um, it's one of those that it's funny because whenever I do the show, there are some things in the show that people like dumbfounded. They have absolutely no idea. And then when it comes to the card stuff, they say, "Well, I know he's doing something. I just don't know what it is." But like they've in their head, they've like figured it out. They've like, oh, they know what's happening. No, they know something's happening. They just don't know what's happening. But I think people like that. They sort of like knowing that there is some serious sleight of hand going on. I just can't see it. And like it's sort of a game, that the audience is sat there trying to see you, trying to work it out, and they just can't. Even though they know it's happening, they just can't see it. I think audiences love that. I think by adding the principles of magic as well, they're also getting a bit of a lesson. These are all words that they've heard, but they've maybe never seen in action. So it's always nice for them to, oh yeah, misdirection. Oh, what's that again? Oh, that's what it is. That sort of thing. So not only are you finding their card, you're also giving them a bit of a lesson, which I think is quite nice as well.
Well, I think that's a great choice in at number one. And Devil's Advocate didn't come out because you knew what was going to happen anyway. So let's go on to
Yeah,
number two. What's in position number two?
Number two is double cross. Again, it's been mentioned a few times, but again, it's a fantastic trick. I've actually put the heart version rather than the cross version. The reason for that is because it just works for me in the show. So on the walls, I have all of the suits in like sort of frames. I found them online. They look great. So for double cross, the way I do it in the show is one thing I don't like about double cross is hold your hands up, draw an X, like get it and throw it. It works in some situations. Obviously, if you're doing a gig, it's very loud. It's very there's lots going on. So sometimes you just have to just do it. Make it as visual as possible. With the Magic Corner show, it's quite a long routine actually. There's a lot of. I think the problem with double cross is if someone remembers you touching them, the gig's up a little bit. So I've added many layers to the trick. One of them being two stop forces. They stop on a suit. So I go, oh, can you stop me on one of the four suits? And they stop me on the heart. And last but not least is the stop of a person. So basically, I get everyone is sort of sat in a bit of a semicircle, sort of scattered around, but they are in a general semicircle. I'm stood in the middle, and I do that thing. I don't know what you call it, but when you hold your hands up and you turn them upside down, you put one hand over the other and clap them together. I have no idea what that's called. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate the fact that I do it, but it's such an easy lead in for double cross, so I do it. So yeah, I do that first, and then whilst everyone's sort of like, "Oh, it didn't work for me," that's when I'm getting my spectator. That's when I'm choosing my spectator because I say, right, let's do it again, and I've already stamped them, and then I get everyone to hold their arms up, put one hand behind their back. If they keep the hand out, that's the hand. If they put it behind their back, I put the other hand, keep that hand behind your back so I can't get to it. And then I do a stop force on the heart, and then do a stop force on the person as well. Generally, it hits. I think like 99% of the time it hits. If it doesn't, I'll minimize it down to one person, and that person is the person. And then I do to throw it over. So with that way, one, you get to choose the suit. It could have been any of the suits. You chose a heart, and two, you get to choose the person. So even if someone goes, "Oh, he did touch me," then usually someone else in the room goes, "Yeah, but that person chose you. They could have chose them," and that, you know what I mean. So if you add layers to it, I think it just makes it a bit more impossible. So yeah, that's my number two.
I think that's really clever that you're using that offbeat moment, that reaction moment, to do the dirty work, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Because I'm probably in the same category as you, in that I think it's quite an easy trick to backtrack. It's a very easy one to pick. So any way that you can minimize that moment, like, for example, not saying, which hand do you write with? Because you're still drawing attention to the fact that they've got their hands out. So I think that's really, really clever. Now, is this something that you've done for larger audiences as well? So is this something that you would do on stage or at the Fringe, or do you just keep this for a smaller group?
Yeah, so this is I've never done it on stage. It's primarily I do it in the Magic Corner. I do it at gigs as well, and I will try even at a gig to still do those steps. I don't use the heart at the gig. I do use the cross, um, but I will still do the sort of stop force on the person if I can. I just think, as you say, like it is an easy trick to backtrack. So if you can just add that one more layer where someone can go, but you could have chosen anyone to another person, then I think it just makes it just more impossible. But yeah, as you say, it can be backtracked. So adding those layers just makes it better.
Amazing. Now, at the head of the podcast, you said that there was one trick that you couldn't take out the show, that you always have to keep in the show. Are you going to let us know what that trick is when it comes up, or do you want us to guess and then let us know at the end?
I will. Oh, that's a good point. I wasn't planning on going into too much detail on it because I think not only is it my favorite ever trick that I've sort of come up with and perform, it's also when you see it, it's so magical. It's one of the most magical things you'll ever see visually and impossibly. I will mention it, but I think if you can, same with the principles of magic. If you can say something just to make the audience, because sometimes magic's really complicated, right? But if you can put something that's familiar to it, for example, in the show I do a whole Back to the Future segment, and Back in Time things. It's one of my favorite plots of magic. Back in Time, like the Pegasus, like honorable mention, Pegasus Page. I think it's a brilliant trick, brilliant plot for magic. I think if you can familiarize it with a film, for example, like Back to the Future, then instantly it becomes way more recognizable and so much easier to follow as well. So in the Back in Time segment, there's Back to the Future music that plays. You know that chime. I think if you can familiarize it with a film, for example, like Back to the Future, then instantly it becomes way more recognizable and so much easier to follow as well. So in the Back in Time segment, there's Back to the Future music that plays. You know that chime, like at the exact moments where things happen. Even if an audience doesn't see it, they hear it and they're like, oh, okay, that's what's happened. It just makes it so much more easier to understand. Same with the principles of magic. You can make a card appear, but if you tell them that's a principle, then they're like, oh, I've seen a card appear now, So yeah, I will explain. I will talk about it a little bit. I just think it looks so nice, but yeah, it's definitely something that's a staple piece in the show and will never leave the show as well.
Well, you've given us too many clues to not realise which one it's going to be now at this point. Great. So let's go on to number 3. What's in your third spot?
Number 3, I have one of my probably my favorite impromptu trick, Inject 2.0. I think I can't really go into much detail about it. If you know it, it's fantastic. The Magic Corner is quite popular in Durham now, so if I go out in Durham, generally someone will come up to me and go, "Oh, you're the magician." I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they say, "Can you show me a trick?" That's the trick I show them because I don't like taking a deck of cards out with me. I barely have pockets. I don't like taking loads of gimmicks with me. And to be honest, I don't really like performing outside of when outside of a show. That's my go-to impromptu trick. If I'm ever out and about, you don't need your phone. I always do the version with 2 phones where you create the prediction on one phone and so on. I have a few subtleties on that if anyone would like to get in touch with me, I would happily go over it with them. So just some subtleties that I've learned from doing it for the past 5 years. Just things like when they search for a person, why are they searching for a person? Just things like that. So yeah, so there's a few subtleties that I've added into it, but that is my go-to impromptu trick. It's I would never change it. I don't really have any other impromptu tricks apart from the thumb thing. So yeah, that's basically it. Maybe the pinky finger will come off every so often.
Well, I think that's another great choice. I'm a big fan of Inject, and my thing with Inject that I've discovered is I think it does so much that magicians get lost in the swell of it can do this and can do that, and they don't know where to begin. So I think the routine that you mentioned, the idea that you borrow a phone, so your technology is not involved, you make a prediction on that phone, you borrow a second one, that person searches for something. So when I perform it, I do a song, so I say, what's your favourite song of all time? And then when person number one opens up their phone, it's on a YouTube video of that song. So it can be just as simple as that routine. But why have you not gone for any other impromptu ones? I know you mentioned that you don't like carrying stuff and stuff like that, but there's so many EDCs. There's that buzzword, guys. EDCs nowadays. So what is it about Inject that you went with?
So I think Inject is one. It's super impossible. It's one of those things that genuinely. I'm a big believer in magic has to be personal. Or I think doing a close-up show for so long, the things that I've realized that audiences like the most are things that happen in their hands, or things that are personal, or again things that they've thought of. Like the sort of under the personal thing, like think of a name. So in terms of propolis impromptu stuff, maybe one thing I'd love to get into more is impromptu mentalism. Think of a person, telling the person, that sort of thing. That's something I'd love to do. I know I did do, I can't remember what it's called, but it's Pete Turner's Think of a Destination. It's on a DVD from a while ago that I think Magic Box released, but it's Dream Location or something like that, where basically the spectator in their head picks a color from the rainbow. They paint this image of a landscape, and I won't give away the end because it sort of gives it away, but you guess where they are, where they're standing, how they're feeling and stuff. I did do that for a while. It didn't always hit, but I would say like 90% of the time it did. It's a fantastic trick. I actually used to do it in the Magic Corner with everyone just to see how many people I could get to think of it. So yeah, that I would like to get into that more. The reason I choose Inject, one, it falls under all those categories. It sort of happens in their hands because it's their phone. And also it's sort of personal because they have thought of that celebrity. What I do in the Magic Corner is I get everyone to think of a celebrity. So at the end, in the interval, it's always fun because you always hear people go, so who were you thinking of? And they go, Simon Cowell. I'm like, so why was I thinking of Tom Cruise? And they're like, oh, he's obviously, I think as well, people think that I have guided them towards, for example, Tom Cruise, and I think that's a really strong thing as well. Because people walk into the Magic Corner like, okay, look around. All right, what's he already trying to push on us, So people think through speech, I've pushed them towards Tom Cruise, and obviously, as we know, I haven't. But I quite like that concept. If that's what people think, then great, that's fine with me. Also, it uses their phones, and you don't have to do anything. In terms of everyday carries, I had do you know that keychain where you press it and you get the seven of hearts on your thumb and finger? And the blistering, it's called. I had that on my keychain for years, completely forgot about it, and then found it once. And I did do that once when I was out. I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Why have I not done that before? I just completely forget I have these things because I go to his Inject. And occasionally someone will have me a pack of cards and I might go into some stuff. But yeah, Inject's the one. So good.
Great. Well, that's a great one in at number 3. Let's head on to number 4. What's in your 4th spot?
Number 4, again, it's been mentioned a few times, but Toxic, iThumb, can't beat it. It's genuinely one of the strongest pieces of magic I've ever come across. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was absolutely floored by it. So yeah, that ends the show at the moment. How it ends the show, it actually so at the start of the show, you know how they pick the cards, the playing cards, they sign them. I say hold on to them, we're going to use them at the very end. So at the very end, we actually get the final number using the cards that they've picked. So instead of getting them to shuffle the cards, I want them to keep their own cards. So we do a human shuffle. So I play some music and we all play musical chairs. Everyone's switching seats, and then when the music stops, sit down on random seats. So now those cards are in a completely different order, and then we do a multiplication using those cards, which leads to the final Toxic date and time, which I think is great. I think it's a really different way of using it. Rather than just asking some questions, it sort of ties in the start with the end. It's one thing I love doing in shows is having that tie between the start and the end. I think it's really important. So yeah, Toxic is fantastic. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's also pretty much impromptu. So again, actually, I lied about Inject. I will do Toxic from time to time if I'm out and about, because yeah, it is good. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, of course I do. But yeah, it's really good. But with it being 10 people in the room as well. When you get that, the random number as such, I actually get each of them to pick one and go around the room and get everyone to pick one, which I think it's sort of better than getting one person to just go crazy on it, So I think if they each pick a number, obviously there's 10 people and there's usually 9 numbers that they pick. So I just say, oh, someone missed, but that's okay. That's believable. So yeah, Toxic, it's gone there. I didn't want to put it in because I know a lot of people have put it in, but to be honest, it's one of those things that just you can't miss. I don't think you can get stronger really than it. Also, it falls under those same categories. It's in their hands because they're holding onto their phone and following it along, and it's kind of personal because it's that date and that time, and that's something that cannot be created any other time, any other day. It's that exact date, that exact time. It's a moment that everyone in this room right now is sharing, and no one else will ever share again. So yeah, it's nice.
And looking at your list so far, we've gone from multiple selection, double cross, inject, and toxic. All very, very, very different. So you've got like a card trick in there. You've got like a weird thing with a pen. You've got inject, which is like a core prediction thing. And now you've got toxic, which you mentioned is your closer. So I think that really reflects what you were talking about at the beginning, how maybe you don't like card tricks and you like just doing lots of different things. And
That's
certainly
right.
in your show, from the clips that I've seen, it's very, very varied. I mean, you've got like clothes changing and all sorts going on in your show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's a lot that goes on. Yeah, with every show, I try to just to do as many different things as possible, especially in the Magic Corner. I think a lot of people come and they expect to see card stuff, and they will see card stuff. But to be honest, there's only a few card tricks in the show, and the main thing is the multiple selection, and that is done within the first 8 minutes of the show. And then after that, there's barely any card stuff, to be honest. So yeah, I do like doing magic with everyday objects as well. I think that's it's all borrowed objects. It's always fun as well. So we'll sort of get into that in a second as well.
Lots of teasers going forward. I like it. Let's go to number 5 then. What's in your 5th spot?
Number 5, I put loops. There's so many things you can do with them. The main thing I do with them is PK Touch. That's another thing that has been in the show since day one, and I will never take it out, and I don't think I'll ever not do it. It's so strong. Again, it falls under that sort of magic in their hands. It's happening to them. I do it surrounded as well in the Magic Corner, so everyone's sort of sat around them, which again makes it more impossible because they can't see the secret stuff. And yeah, so loops, but also just for levitation wise, and there's so many things with loops that I haven't learned yet, and I will eventually. I think the thing you can do with a ring is really, really great. It's something I haven't learned, but it looks so good. Yeah, so it's an obvious one, I think, but again, I just can't really miss it out. It's so good. They're what I would think one of the greatest magician tools you can have on you. And sometimes, I know I'd said I don't take stuff out with me. I will have something on me. I will have one of those on me just in case, because that is the one thing that I will take out with me. One. But honestly, give it like 3 hours. By the end, I go to do it and I'm like, oh, it's gone. Oh, never mind. I was going to do this really cool thing, but not anymore.
Well, I think that's a great choice, and I don't think it's necessarily an obvious one, but it is the first sort of utility tool that you've given on your list. So what is the one routine with loops that you haven't yet learned? The one routine that you really want to learn? Would it be the ring, or would it be maybe a haunted deck or something else?
Yeah, so I've done haunted deck. I've done the levitation of a bill, PK Touch. So yeah, it would be the ring. I did ages ago try and learn it, and I think I did learn it, but it's been so long, I wouldn't even know where to start with it. I think one thing I've never done with it, but I do love, is the thing with the straw, where you sort of make it move, or you make it go from one hand to the other. That looks great. So that's probably what I do, because at the end of the day, I'm also the Magic Corner. It is a bar, so if I could just at like a spontaneous moment in the show, grab a straw and just go, great, So that's probably one thing I do. Would learn with it, or the sort of the telekinesis thing where you sort of make it fall out of their hand. That looks cool as well with a straw. So that's probably what I'd go for. But I think the ring looks fantastic. So maybe one of those.
The news is out. The 1914 has found a new home. We are proud to announce that Alakazam Magic are now the proud custodians of the 1914. What does this mean for you? Simply put, everything you love stays exactly where it belongs. The aesthetic, the quality, the philosophy. The website remains unchanged. Your instructional content is safe. The classics that defined the 1914 will be restocked and made available once again. And with our industry-leading infrastructure and customer service behind the scenes, the future is stronger than ever. But this isn't just about preservation. Work has already begun on a series of new 1914 releases. Projects that have been quietly evolving for years and are finally ready to see the light of day. This is the next chapter, built on respect for the past, driven by belief in the future. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for coming along with us on this journey. We are the new 1914.
Great choice in at number 5. Let's go into number 6. What's in your 6th spot, Tom?
Number 6, I've got Optix, either Optix or Optix 2.0. One of my favorite plots in Magic is Object to Impossible Location. I think it's great. I've never been a fan of a card, like a signed card to Impossible Location. My favorite is a phone, a mobile phone. I think it's oh man, it's a big object. And this, if you can make that object disappear and reappear, it's personal. It's their phone. You can prove it's their phone by either calling it or just having that, the picture on the front of whatever their home screen is. So there's good proof there rather than it just being a signature. That's like solid proof that it's their phone. But in terms of the vanish, I think Optix is the most visual vanish of anything I've ever seen. I've thrown it into so many shows. It's been in Grow Up Magic Man. We do it in Insane Magic Show. It's one thing I've never done in the Magic Corner, but would like to at some point. I think with it being a little bit angle sensitive, for me it doesn't work in the Magic Corner quite yet. But that vanish it's so visual. It's the best. I think it's the best vanish of anything I've ever seen, to be honest. I prefer the first one, the original, rather than the second one. But I have started using the second one more because it's a bit cleaner for what we need in the Insane Show. But yeah, Optix. Yeah, but in terms of phone to impossible locations, the ones, we've me and my friend Corey, who Corey's my go-to guy for any solutions, anything I need. Corey comes up with a solution very quickly. He's very good. So he helped me write Grow Up Magic Man. And we've done phone to gift box. We did phone to rocket. That was one of my favorites. We'd make the phone vanish and then talk about the whole speed of light, and then the speed of sound's a bit slower. And before I make the phone vanish, I'm setting an alarm on their phone, make it vanish. I say the speed of light is fast, but the speed of sound is a little bit slower. And then their phone alarm would go off, and there's a rocket on the stage, like a little toy rocket. Inside the toy rocket was their phone. We loved that. It wasn't easy to pull off, but man, I love that trick. And the reason it wasn't so easy to pull off is, it wasn't easy to pull off. So we changed it into a gift box and had an alarm clock on it. So the speed of sound is a little bit slower. And then I basically made this big remote control alarm clock, which is great. And that would go off. And, next to that, underneath that would be the gift box that the phone was in. I won't go into details of what we do in the Insane Magic Show, because you'll have to come see it. It's great. It's really fun. I think Luke talks about it a bit. I think he did mention it. So go listen to Luke's podcast. And the Insane lads, actually, Luke, Cameron, and Elliot, they've just recently released a new trick, which I think is probably the best phone to impossible location I have seen. I think it's really good. Something I'll definitely be putting into my shows. You make a phone disappear and it appears in a big box of rice. So you make the phone disappear in a bucket of water, and obviously if you drop your phone in water, you put it into a box of rice. On the stage they have a box of rice, you pull a plug, all the rice drains out the bottom, and inside, slap bang in the middle of that rice, is their phone. And you can call it as well. It is, oh man, it's really good. It's in my opinion the best phone to impossible location I've ever seen, so I'd recommend it. I think it's available now. It might be on pre-order from the time of filming, so yeah, I would check it out.
Amazing. Well, again, another really, really quirky choice. Optix Pro, I think it follows suit with your list. Every single thing that you picked is distinctly different in every way. So I'm excited to see what your last two are going to be. I genuinely cannot think where this is going to go, because there's no real theme here other than everything's just different. Unless you're about to say Statue of Liberty disappearing, I've got no idea where this is going to go. So let's go into the tail end of your list with number 7.
So number 7, yeah, it's a classic, but as you say, it's different to everything else. It's the Chop Cup. I love the Chop Cup. It ends the first half of my Magic Corner show. At the start of the show, before I start the show, I say throughout the show you're going to see a variety of magic. As you can tell, a variety of magic. You're going to see some misdirection, some sleight of hand. You'll see some mind reading, some illusions. At the end of the first half, we're going to make an elephant appear. I can promise you that. And then that gets a good laugh, and then it sort of plays on people's minds. It's something I learned from I can't remember who told me, but someone who works on the streets, and they said you always give them something at the start to keep them till the end. You know, something to look forward to. And obviously with the Magic Corner, you know, they're not going to leave. Like in a street show, they don't have the opportunity to leave. They're sort of in there. They've paid to be there, sort of thing. But it's still a nice thing to have that tie-in with the start and the end. I think it's really important to have that tie-in with the start and the end. And it's something that plays on people's mind. Like, when's that elephant appearing? Anyway, so I do the Chop Cup. I do Mark James's routine, which is, it's in my opinion, the best, because I know Mark said that, you know, it's not one of those constant guessing games. It's not like, where's the ball now? Where's the ball now? It's just, it's fast flowing. And the last thing that I make appear is a stuffed elephant that is way too big to fit in that glass, in that cup. But you know, it squashes down. So when you pull it out, it really does expand, and it looks a lot bigger than it should be, than fitting in the cup. So it's, I say before I end. And remember at the very start, I said that we're going to make an elephant appear at the very end. Well, that moment is now, and you know, lift up the cup, and there's that elephant, and it ends with a blackout on that moment, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a Chop Cup. I love the Chop Cup. It's also nice to say before you start that this is a classic in Magic. This is actually one of the oldest tricks ever recorded, one of the oldest tricks in the books, and it's also genuinely one of the first tricks I ever learned as well. So it wasn't the Chop Cup, it was the Cups and Balls, but same difference, you know. So yeah, so Chop Cup, I'm going to go with that.
I love the idea of the elephant throughout the show.
Yeah.
The idea that the elephant's going to appear. Does that prompt people just to be on their guard even more? Because earlier on you mentioned when people come into the venue, they're already looking around at, you know, what's this guy doing to us? So does that prompt them just to constantly throughout the show be looking for what this elephant is?
Pretty much, yeah. It's one of those things that just plays on people's minds. By the end of the show, they do forget about it. There's actually a couple moments like that in the show. So at the very start of the show, I do a cube, a matching cube to a cube in a jar. I say that I show them the jar at the very start and do the gag of, oh, I'm going to solve it, and then you don't. So that would have been good to start the show, wouldn't it? And then I get them to place it anywhere in the room, and then it sort of gets forgotten about, so that when you have that cube that they've just mixed up, you can sort of have that sort of like realization moment of, oh my god, it's going to match the one in the jar anyway, and then you go grab the jar and it matches the one in the jar that has been in the room the whole time. So there's a few of those moments. I think as you say, it's one of those things that it distracts people a little bit, not in a bad way. Like, it's not like they're constantly thinking about, oh, that one, the one in the jar. They're constantly thinking, where's this elephant? I think it's more of one of those moments that when it happens, they're like, oh, he did say he was going to do that. I should have been looking out for it more, you know? So yeah, so I think I love the tie-in. I love callbacks. I think with films, you know, when a film has a callback, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So in a film. So yeah, if you can do it in Magic, that's great.
Amazing. Well, let's go into your final position then. What did you put in your 8th spot, Tom?
Yeah, so the eighth spot is it's my favorite trick I've ever performed. It's I call it Goblet of Fire. And basically, there's a whole story behind the show. I don't know how to say this without giving away the methods, but I don't think it's enough to give away a method to anyone. So filter paper. When you set fire to filter paper, do you know what that looks like?
Floats up.
It floats up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's physics or something. I don't know. Anyway, it looks great. It's one of the most magical looking things you can possibly do. So I used to do this trick where the paper would float up and you get someone's thinking of a name and you rub it on your hand and it spells out the name of the person they're thinking. And genuinely, this 9-year-old kid in the show once went, "Wow, that looks like the paper from the Goblet of Fire." And I said, "Kid, that is the best thing I've ever heard in my life." I didn't actually say that. I was like, "Oh yeah, it does." But in my mind, I'm going, "Oh my God, realization, that is the greatest thing that's ever happened in the show." So anyway, the next day I went out and I bought this goblet looking thing. And essentially, without giving away any of the methods, they freely, they write down the name of someone that's really close to them. They fold it up, they drop it inside the Goblet of Fire. You put the paper on top, you light that, and it floats up and it spells out the name of the person they're thinking. And it is as free as that. Genuinely, it's so free. It's one of those things that over time has got better and better and better with the lighting as well. So I have a spotlight directly above the goblet and spotlights either side as well on like an ambery color. Now, when you light that thing, yes, it looks great when it rises up in normal light. If you add a slight bit of amber, if you have the opportunity to have a spotlight on a slight orangey amber color, like a fiery color, I promise you that ball of ash, or whatever you want to call it, will look so magical when it's going up. It's something about the way the light. So obviously it burns, and then when it goes up, there's no fire, but there's still a few little sparks on it. So they really are amplified by the light, and also the smoke coming off it fills the room. It also smells lovely, but it fills the room, and the light, and it goes into the light because the spotlight's directly above it. It rises sort of into the light, and I've done that trick now for 5 to 6 years. I added the lights about 3 years ago, and I am not bored of it. I get goosebumps every time I watch it happen. So like just knowing that these people who are here for the first time are seeing that, I know the feeling that they're getting, and because I still get it. When that piece of paper rises up, it just looks so magical. It's in my opinion one of the most magical moments in the show, and if anyone sees it, it's one of the most magical things you can possibly see. It's a levitation. It just looks great, and then obviously when it spells out the name, that's like the bonus. Yeah, so it has a lot of magical moments. Obviously, it has the levitation, it has the spell and the name. I don't bang on about the when it floats. I just let it happen. I let them sit with it. I don't think you should say, "And it floats up," blah blah blah. I just let them see it, and then when it spells the name, that's sort of the impact. Yeah, so that's the trick. I might have bigged it up too much, but it's really good. It's really fun. It looks really good. It's one of those things I am not sick of at all. It will never leave the show, and still to this day, I love performing it. When you've performed a trick for so long, you sort of start to get a bit bored of it. This, I'm just not bored. I just love watching it every single day. So yeah, I need to get it filmed. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Oh, please do. I think everyone would love to see it with all the lighting and just to see the impact of it. And I think there's a couple of interesting things. So just a reference for those listening, the first time I saw this was Rick Lack's called Soul Paper many years ago, where he sucks it up through a straw at the very end. So, if you want to learn a version of it, then go check that out. But I think there's a couple of really lovely things. The other question before I talk about those lovely things is, do you have like a music cue during that moment, like a Harry Potter-y, whimsical moment?
So I have. It is the annoying thing is I don't. So the whole show is cued. I do the whole show myself through a button, but that track plays depending on how fast they write down the name and show everyone. I have to sort of stall a bit because I know there is a bit in it's again, I should have mentioned it before, but with the lighting and with the sound as well, there is a bit in the track that I know I need to light this piece of paper on this moment, because it's the bum 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 bum, that bit in the Harry Potter, and then and throughout that, when it's burning, it's the same track, and then when it lifts in the song as well. It's something that actually happened by accident. It's a track that I found. It is a Harry Potter track. I think it is from the Goblet of Fire film as well, but it was a happy accident more than anything. I started the track and did the routine the first time I did it, and it just happens naturally. There was this lift in the track that was like, okay, that's when that needs to happen, and fortunately the timing was perfect. So yeah, it does lift with the music. The music ramps up to get louder as well during that moment. So yes, yeah, the lighting and sound in that is also, it's really amplified that trick.
Well, I think it sounds great, and the reason why I think it's so interesting for you in particular is if people were to see your venue, they would see that there is kind of like a brick wall outside and there's this gate in the middle, which is very reminiscent of the Harry Potter wall that you walk through. And on the gate, you've got platform 9 3/4, but it's 19 and a half, I think it is on
That's correct,
on your
yeah.
gate.
The genuine address of the building. Could not believe it. Before I even got there, the address. And honestly, it wasn't until, again, like maybe the same 9-year-old kid, but this other kid went, if you take 9 3/4 and you double it, it equals 19 and a half. I was like, oh yeah, well, I know that now. So there you go. That's fun. But yeah, the address is 19 and a half. And again, like it falls back to the same thing as the Back to the Future. If you can relate it, say we're going to create our Goblet of Fire, then people are already thinking, they already know what it's going to be. And then when it happens, they're sort of like, oh my God, that genuinely does look like the Goblet of Fire. This is a moment. People who watch that film as a kid will be like, it sort of takes them back to that moment of watching the Goblet of Fire for the first time. And yeah, so again, if you can relate it to something that's familiar to them, it just makes that trick so much more memorable.
It also makes your venue feel like they're in a real Harry.
Yes.
You want that walking into your venue in particular. You want that Harry Potter moment. You want that Leviosa moment.
You definitely do, yeah. And that is the moment of the show, yeah, for sure. You get a lot of Harry Potter fans coming to the show as well, so it's nice to do that.
That's why I'm coming. I'm just coming for that Harry Potter moment.
Yeah.
But it's great. I think that's a wonderful list. We've gone from multiple selection, double cross, inject, toxic plus, loops, Optix Pro, chop cup, ending with the Goblet of Fire. It's definitely a list that I can imagine that you put together, knowing that you're just so into so many different kinds of magic and you're always exploring. So I think that's a great list indeed. However, you do still have a few items left. Now, obviously, we gave you 8 tricks, but we're only giving you 1 each of these. Tom, I want you to imagine that you are going to dig a big sandy hole and you're going to throw something inside, never to be seen again. We're going to bury it on your island. What have you banished?
Yeah, so from listening to the podcast before, it is the same thing as what a lot of people say. It is egos. I'm not a big fan of egos. I can go into a little bit more detail about it, but yeah, in terms of egos, like it's more just saying stuff to make you sound a lot better than you are. Just essentially just lying. You know what I mean? Because I'm in a fortunate position where the Magic Corner does do really well. It does sell out most months as well in advance, which is so great. But I don't find the need to bang on about it and scream at the top of my lungs. I probably should. At the end of the day, it's just not something I've ever wanted to do, and I don't know. I don't know. I've never done it. So when you see it does happen a lot of the Fringe, and I think a lot of Fringe performers will sort of agree with me on this. But like it's stuff like saying that you've sold out everything and you just haven't. It's stuff like that, and I think I only think like that because my show does do quite well, and it does do quite well, but it didn't happen overnight. I've spent I'm still changing the show. Like even now, just trying to improve it. I've spent a good 6 years to get the Magic Corner to where it is now, because it does take time. It's not easy. It's not easy to sell out a show. Selling out a show it's really hard. I know, and the Insane Lads, they sell out the Edinburgh Fringe every year, and I've witnessed it firsthand. Cameron Gibson, Luke Ozy, and Elliot Bibby work their socks off. They work so hard to get that show to where it is. Like throughout the year, like the Fringe is just August. Obviously, we have Adelaide as well, but the Edinburgh Fringe is just August. But they're working on Edinburgh now. They've started working on Edinburgh in September when August finished. It takes. It's not an easy thing. So when you see people, bragging so much about their show's done this, their show's done that, and firsthand that it hasn't, or they've bigged it up. It's just one thing that gets to me a little bit. Not to go off on a rant because I don't want to do that, but yeah, that's one thing that gets to me. I guess egos is a vague term, but if you were to whittle it down, that would be the main thing that I would banish.
Yeah, I think we've not had anyone talk about it in that way before. The idea that, of course, some people put in so much work to get where they are, and then someone else can just fictionalize that to get themselves ahead. I mean, it can be used as a marketing tool.
I can see why people do it, and I completely get it. It's just not something that I would want to see myself do. But I get it. I understand why people do it. It can help sell a show. I just think there's other ways of doing it than just plain face lying to the public. Everyone is capable of selling out a show, but just you don't have to lie to do it. So that's mainly it. I get why people do it, but it's just something that I would never want to do myself.
Okay, so people lying about their shows, in particular their Fringe shows, and selling out is buried. It's gone. No one's going to ever do that again.
It's gone.
So
Please
let's
don't.
find out, what's your book, Tom? What book are you going to have on your island?
Yeah, so I struggled with this one a little bit because I don't read, unfortunately. I really wish I did. It's just not something I've ever really done. There's a few books that I have read, and yeah, I will read. My New Year's resolution is just to read more books, not necessarily magic books, but just books in general. So I thought, more just sort of literally about this question. What book would I bring just to learn? So I have a name of the book, but generally I was thinking, I would like to bring a book that has the most difficult sleight of hand known to man. So I would just sit on that desert island and I would just learn some really, really difficult sleight of hand. Not for anyone. Like I know I pretty much just do the basics when it comes to sleight of hand, like the double lift and so on. Just because I don't think you need to. You as a magician, as a performing magician, you don't need to learn the technical stuff. It's nice, but generally it is mainly just for yourself, isn't it? So I don't really do it. But I would like to take. I don't know any books that are really difficult sleight of hand, but if I was to bring a book, it would be that. But in terms of the name of the book, I have it here. I bought it a while ago. It's The Particle System by Joshua J. It's a memorized deck. It's a memorized stack and loads of routines with that memorized stack. My other thought was mnemonica, but I don't own mnemonica, so I've gone for the particle system. So again, it's the same reason. I would just sit there, I would learn the stack, and I would learn every single routine in the book so that with a normal deck of cards, I can go out and do some impossible things. So yeah, that's the book I would choose, purely for the reason of just it would take me probably a year to learn it. So yeah.
Well, I think that's a great book. It's a great choice. There's some wonderful routines in there. But I think it's really interesting, and regular listeners are going to realise this. It does seem to be a recurring theme, the idea of a memorised deck. I think so many people want to be able to do it, and for some reason or the other haven't done it. Is there a particular reason that you haven't done it? Is it like you don't think that you can do it, or you haven't had the time to do it?
I think first initial thought is I don't have the time to do it, but that is such a lie because I do. And every if you ever say that, you do. You have time to learn it. I don't know. It's one of those things that I've got the basics and I can do that. So I'm just sort of happy with where everything is at the moment. Yeah, I would like to. I think I can. There is one trick that I used to do in the show, which is a Luke Jamay trick that isn't necessarily a memorized deck, but there's some. What it was is it's a stacked deck. I can't remember the name of the trick, but it is a stacked deck. And I did that trick so many times that when I was resetting it, I actually could reset it from memory just because I knew the order of the cards. So I can do it. Maybe I should just learn my own stack based off that. But it was only, I think, 15 or 20 cards, so it wasn't many. But yeah, I can do it. It's one of those things I just haven't got round to doing it yet. But I will. I definitely will. But I am busy, so maybe that's it.
We'll let you off. We'll let you off.
Yeah, thanks.
You're on this island indefinitely anyway, so you've got plenty of time to do it. So let's find out what your luxury item is. So what is your non-magic item that you use for magic?
Yeah, so I've sort of cheated here, if that's okay. I'm bringing a few things. It's not one, but it's a whole system. And I wasn't sure what to put for this answer, but listening to Luke's podcast, Luke Ozy, it's sort of the same as him. He chose a flick button. Mine is my whole QLab system. It's everything that runs the show, specifically the Magic Corner show. So in the Magic Corner, it's just me. There is no one helping me with the show. There's no one backstage doing anything. There's no one doing the lights. There's no one doing the sounds. Everything is me with an audio aid. So as I say, every bulb, every lamp, every light in the Magic Corner is programmed. It's programmed by myself. I have two people that help me out called Tez and Connor. They are the Gala Theatre, which is my local theatre, the technicians there, and they are fantastic. They know everything and anything about it. So they help me find the lights and stuff, and they help me program it. And since then, I've sort of taught myself how to do lights on QLab. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's with QLab. Once you learn it, it is easy. It's you just know. It's just, the initial learning is hard, but once you get it, and lights on QLab it's not easy either. But once you get it, you get it. So I put it as the QLab system, because I said at the start, I'm a big believer in making a show theatrical, and it's something that I've learned over time. Having lights and proper sound in a show, it really puts you away from any other magic show. It really makes a huge, like, even with the Goblet of Fire trick, seeing that with the lighting for the first time was like, oh, this is a brand new trick. It's the same trick, but it's just changed completely. It's gone from level 10 to level 100. In that whole thing, if I was doing a show on a desert island, I would have proper lights, proper sound, and I would control it myself using an audio ape. So it's the QLab system: QLab, light, sound, and my audio ape.
We're going to need a bigger boat, I think, to get you onto
I
this
think
island.
so. Yeah. Fortunately, I can fit it in a rucksack. Well, actually, not all the lights, but yeah. I'd have to do it at night, though, because, you wouldn't be able to do it during the day. I would need Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And plugs. So.
We'll give you Wi-Fi. We'll just give you a whole electric system out there as well.
That'd be great, yeah.
That'd be great. But I think that's a great one. It's not one that we've had before either. And it is one that I thought we would have more of, actually. I thought that...
I'm surprised by that, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of different versions out there now as well. So, yeah, I'm really surprised it's not been mentioned more, but I think it's a great shout. And the way that you've spoken about your list as well, and how light and sound is so integral to your act and even your stage show, and I think it's the best thing that you could possibly have taken with you.
That's it. I think when writing a magic show, obviously write the magic first. The magic needs to be strong. Once the magic is strong, really focusing on the light. So, for example, with PK Touch, I have I think it's red, like a red light on one side and a blue light on the other side, and they cross each other. So you have a red side of the room and a black and a blue side of the room. And I do that during PK Touch, and it really, again, like, it's a visual separation. There's not just two people standing next to each other in the room. There are two different rooms. It's the same room, but just having that divide, again, it makes it more in people's heads, because they can visually see that there are two separate bodies in two separate lights. Again, like, it's just one of those things that I don't know if this is the case, but in my head, they can visually see that there is nothing between those two people, because there's a visible line of light, of a red and a blue light. So it's just one of those things that I think it really amplifies any trick that you can do, and sort of creates a scene, that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely.
Well, I think that's a great way to close out your list. Let's look at it one more time. We have multiple selection, double cross, Inject 2.0, Toxic Plus, Loops, Optix Pro, Chop Cup, Goblet of Fire. Your banishment is Ego in Magic. Your book is the Particle System, and your item /items is QLab lights and sound, everything bundled together, as well as plugs and electric. That's a great list, and anyone that's around Tom's area, if this hasn't made you want to go and see his show, I don't know what will, because I think it just sounds absolutely brilliant. Even just for Goblet of Fire, I would love to be in the room when that moment happens. I bet, especially if you've got a younger person in there, like a kid.
For sure.
I bet it's such a lovely moment. But thank you so much, Tom. Now, if people want to find out more about you, about the Magic Corner, about your shows, all of that good stuff, where can they go to?
Yep, so the Magic Corner, if you just search themagiccorner.co.uk, it will come up online. I've actually just recently designed a new website, so I'm really proud of it. So yeah, check it out. My website, like my page, is also on that website rather than having two separate websites. So you can find me there. My socials are generally just at Tom Bolton or at Tom Bolton Magic. You can find me there. Next, you can see me in the Magic Corner throughout the year. The only times I'm not there is during Edinburgh, when I'm in Edinburgh Fringe through August, and also when I'm with the Insane Lads in Adelaide Fringe Festival. That's throughout February and March. So we fly out in 2 weeks' time, so I will not be at the Magic Corner. But a good friend of mine called James Pyatt, who used to be the Newcastle Magic Circle president, he's doing his own show in the Magic Corner whilst I'm away, just to keep the doors open. It's a fantastic show, and it's completely different to mine as well. James's style is very sort of classic magic. It's very good. But primarily it's completely different to my show. So again, it gets people in. You can check him out throughout February and March. I will be back in April with the normal Magic Corner show if you fancy coming along. They go on sale on the 5th of February, April, May, June, probably July as well. So, and the Halloween show, the Halloween show starts probably mid-September. Actually a little bit later this year because I'm going to Vegas. So I'm going to Vegas in mid-September, so it'll start when I get back. They usually go on sale on the 22nd of June. The tickets for Halloween go on sale. So and then that.
Amazing. Well, thank you again, Tom. We've actually been trying to get you on for ages, but because you're so busy, I know we haven't managed to. So it's great to finally have you on.
It's great to be here, really is. Thank you so much for having me.
And of course, just like Tom said, if you are around his area, please do go check that out. If you go and see, if you get the chance to see his stand-up show as well, go and see it. It looks absolutely phenomenal. And of course, if you go into Edinburgh Fringe, which lots of people do, I think it's really important to seek out those magicians and those magic acts and to really support them. So please do that. I will try everything I can this year to finally get up to the Magic Corner and check it out as well, because I've always wanted to go. And of course, thank you for listening, but please make sure that you press that subscribe button. We don't actually ever say it on the podcast. We need to say it more because that helps us get the numbers. And do go check out Pete's new podcast as well, which is Alakazam Live. So we'll see you next week with another version of Desert Island Tricks. But until then, have a great week. Goodbye.
When I perform at gigs, I look at effects that tick these 3 boxes. Is it super strong and powerful? Yes. Will it last with your spectators for a lifetime? Absolutely. And does it leave them with a souvenir that perfectly captures the moment of magic? If that all sounds exactly what you're after, look no further than the liquid forks. These forks have been custom designed to be able to bend right in front of your spectators' eyes. It's so easy to perform, it's so visual, and trust me, they will honestly keep this impossible object because they've seen it morph in front of their eyes. It literally does the impossible. Not only that, Liquid Forks comes with 50 of these forks in each pack, and it comes with the full Liquid Forks routine taught by the world famous David Penn. Not only that, we have a subscription service. If you guys love these forks and you get through them at your gigs, we now offer a monthly subscription where you get sent a box through every single month at a 10% reduced fee. Like I said, you guys are going to be loving these. You're going to be performing them every chance you can. Trust me, the reactions are second to none. So guys, head over to alakazam.co.uk, pick up a set of liquid forks. You will not regret it. Easy to do. Leaves them with a killer souvenir. And to be honest with you, it's not cards, it's not coins, it's not mentalism. It's something beyond belief. Check it out now, guys, the liquid forks.